So our Arturo show is coming to a close tomorrow night, and we're so happy you're here because for weeks I've been talking to some of the people that are going to show their amazing video footage and talk, and the people are Byrne and Minsker. And Ethan we had it already helping after the opening, but Pat I was able to cajole and get him to look at his stuff, and this will be the first time shown footage from 2006 that he shot towards a film that will be out in the fall, I think. And after that, the Screaming Rebel Angels. We all looking forward to. So we're gonna start with Pat Byrne's 33 minutes of never before seen footage that he's edited for tonight. And he's gonna speak briefly, and then Ethan Minsker's going to speak and show various clips of really special footage with him and Arturo and other people and talk about their work together in the antagonist movement, etc. And then the Screaming Rebel Angels will be playing. All right, thanks.
We're about to visit Arturo Vega's loft, the classic loft that I've read about in books and I've seen pictures of where some of the Ramones used to even live. So here we go. I arrived in Christmas Eve, 1971. Yes. And I lived in a very different neighborhood. I live in 62nd Street and 3rd Avenue in a penthouse. But that's a whole other story. I found this loft when I was looking for a place that I could afford, and I had seen some ads in the Village Voice for $150 a month on 2nd Street up by Avenue B. And I go up there, and then of course I was a little terrified. I had never been south of 14th Street, you know. And in those days, 2nd and B used to be a heroin supermarket. You know, a block away, 2 blocks away, you could hear the dealers shouting the brand of the heroin they were selling. You know, White Death, you know, Yellow Death, Toilet, razor blades, that's what they used to call them. And so it was pretty nasty, and I was a little scared that I was going to have to live in a neighborhood like this, you know. But I was walking down the street, and then I saw that they were working on this building. It was work being done, and they were just turning it into a living space. According to my lease, my original lease, I moved in here in October of '72, and so I came up here, and the owner was here, and he liked me, and he said, "What do you do?" I said, "I go to school," which was true. I was going to the new school in those days. "And do you work?" I said, "No, I don't work." "How are you going to pay the rent?" I said, "Oh, my family will send me money," you know. And so I moved in, $300 a month. Of course, I didn't tell them there were 4 of us really, you know, living here at the beginning, paying $75 each. And it was great. I got lucky. Some people say it's written in the stars. I'll say it was written on the Bowery. You know, what was going to be my life, you know, how important this became, how crucial it became, you know, being here. There was one thing that people like myself and a lot of other people that moved in here, just like CBGBs, there's one thing that we were after: freedom. You know, I felt free in a neighborhood where everybody was afraid to come down to, where everybody thought it was dangerous and ugly and dirty. I felt free. I'd rather be here. I met Didi in late '73, no, summer of '73. Didi used to come to see a girl that lived upstairs. And my door was always open, and I was painting here in the daytime. You know, I work at night, so I was painting here. And Didi would stick his head in and say hello.
little by little, he got friendlier and friendlier. He would come in and talk to me and tell me. Then he started telling me that him and his friends from Forest Hills were putting a band together. At first, I didn't pay too much attention to that fact because he didn't seem like the kind of guy that I would expect to be putting a rock and roll band together, you know. He always looked kind of too nice, you know. He wore nice, you know, nice shirts, and his hair was always done right. You know, he had that page haircut already, but you know, it was a little bit too manicured for me. But anyway, he would talk about them all the time. So then I realized that he really meant it and that they were really putting it together. And so he invited me to see their first show.
Check one, check one. Hey, Howl, how you doing tonight? Can you hear me? All right. Keep it going for Aldo, everybody. I want to thank him and Doug and everyone at Howl. I have been trying to get Howl this footage for like a decade. It's been the journey of like, how do I get that Arturo footage into the right hands? This is where it should have been. This is where it should have been screened for the memory of Arturo Vega. Everyone give a round of applause to Arturo Vega and all the work he did. Incredible, incredible person. I don't even know what punk rock would be without Arturo. This footage was filmed for a documentary I did on CBGB's 20 years ago. Unfortunately, that film was shelved. But we are hoping to screen it in a educational fashion before the end of the year, so stay tuned for that. The name of the film is Saving CBGB. But I have tons and tons of footage, and even though that film was shelved, it led to a handful of friendships that I still have to this day. Arturo was one of them. Roberta Bailey, David Godless was here tonight, John Holmstrom was in the back. These are people who were involved in the film that I keep in touch with to this day, and I kept in touch with Arturo until his passing in 2013. He left us way, way too soon. So there is a tiny bit more of this footage and also a larger film that is a full-length film. But I don't want to take up too much time. I want to keep it going, and then there's more footage, and I'm going to give it to my, give it to my colleague, but if there's like a question or two about the footage, I'll answer really quick. Yes, you? Or are you just lifting your bag? Okay. All right. Good enough. Let's keep the train moving then. Oh, go ahead. I went to him. He was, interviewed in a great film by Michael Gramaglia and Jim Fields called End of the Century. And I, of course, knew about him from reading books about the Ramones and the formation of punk. So he was definitely on my list of people to try. And I think I met him probably at like the Joey Ramone birthday bash the year prior or something. That's where I kind of hounded a lot of people and gave my homemade business card out, because that's, yeah. Anyway, yes.
I know Arturo did some of the backing vocals on Street Pop. Was there any song that he did that like he contributed to creatively? I know he's the merch master.
Right. Is there any? The question is there any?
Song he contributed to creatively, like, oh, maybe you should do this, like give suggestions to?
I wish he did. I would have taken his advice for sure. He didn't end up seeing a cut of the film until it was like almost coming out, but I trusted his taste for sure, and I would have definitely asked him. Everybody feeling good? You want to see some more footage? I know I do. I'm going to keep it moving then. My name is Pat Byrne. You can find me online. I am on the, if you go to the post that Howl did for the event today, you could see my handle. It's just Pat_Byrne, like David Byrne. And I'm going to give it up to, it's Evan, right? Ethan, sorry. Ethan, everybody.
Hello. All right, hi, my name is Ethan Minsker. The next video clips you're going to see are by me. These are focused on the connection Arturo had with a local art group called the Antagonist Art Movement. There's a few people here, like Michelle, who was a member. A lot of the people actually from that movement were the original people who worked in this gallery, like Ted Reeder, who you'll see clips of him as well in here. And Michelle also used to work here. That said, the Antagonist movement was an art group formed in the East Village, Lower East Side, where a bunch of would-be artists who came to the city, who wanted to make art, but found out they were stuck paying high rents. So what we did as a group is we found locations, bars, coffee shops, and the streets of New York, the basements of bars, where artists could come together and show their work without having to worry about the economics of art. We weren't taking 50% of their sales, we did take 30%, but we didn't make them pay up front. So it really became a laboratory where artists could come together, make work, and collaborate. Arturo was somebody who came into the bar and found us. He then brought in Jane Friedman, who I gotta say thank you, Jane, for being a part of this place. And Jane would come in and support many of the artists by just coming in and buying all of our merchandise and then putting it on some young band that didn't know better. That said, I also have a book, The Antagonist, which is about the art movement, and some of the clips are from this DVD. I will be selling those over there if anybody is interested. Let me read a little bit about some of this stuff about Arturo. Friendship, collaborator, and creative community. I want to talk a little bit about Arturo and his art. Arturo I knew through the Antagonist art movement. He was one of our mentors, collaborators, curators, and connectors. The person who was constantly bringing artists together, encouraging them to try something they hadn't thought before. I personally had a nickname for Arturo, the mixing spoon. He would bring in different types of art and introduce them, different styles of art and different artists, and bring them together, and the idea was always trying to figure out something new from those connections. Arturo wasn't just making art, he was making opportunities, he was creating relationships, he was creating community. And while his work with the Ramones is legendary, I think some of his most important contributions happened quietly through the artists he encouraged and collaborated with, that he also sparked. Today, I'd like to share a little about my friendship with Arturo and the projects he worked on together, and why I think his influence is still very much alive today. He created, obviously, one of the most recognizable logos in the music industry. He oversaw the band's visual identity. He helped establish the model for how bands think about merchandise and branding. But Arturo was never someone who stayed in one lane. His interest stretched far beyond music. He loved artists, he loved experimentation, he loved seeing what happened when creative people from different worlds met one another. And when most people think of a manager, curator, and artist, director, they think of someone who organizes things. Arturo wasn't organizing, he was mixing. He was always introducing people. He was suggesting ideas, always finding the ways to make artists think differently about what they were doing. Meeting Arturo through the Antagonist art movement, when we started the Antagonist movement, we created opportunities for artists who often existed outside of the traditional system. Arturo immediately understood what we were trying to do. He became an advisor, a mentor, a supporter, a collaborator. What struck me was how genuinely invested he was. He wasn't lending his name to the project. He was participating. He was attending the events. He would offer ideas. He would make introductions. He would encourage artists. He wasn't interested in being the center of attention. He was interested in helping something happen. Throughout the years, he curated events with us. He participated in numerous projects. One of the most memorable, working alongside of him, was involving Richard Hambleton, the Shadow Man artist. Arturo took a bunch of his works, brought it into Niagara, and showed it in the basement of the bar. And to Arturo's credit, Richard needed money, put on a show, gave him money. And he hadn't shown publicly in probably 20 years before that. I wish I bought some of that work, because now I see a lot of those stop signs selling for $600,000, and I could have bought one for $300,000. Arturo had a remarkable ability to bridge the generations of artists. He could bring together established figures and emerging artists and make everyone feel like they were part of the same conversation. He never seemed particularly interested in hierarchy. He was interested in chemistry. He wanted to know what might happen when creative people who normally wouldn't meet suddenly found themselves in the same room. Another thing that made Arturo unique was his way he treated younger artists. A lot of established figures in the art world position themselves as gatekeepers. There's often an unspoken hierarchy where younger artists are expected to prove themselves before they are taken seriously. Arturo wasn't like that. He treated younger artists as equals. This doesn't mean he didn't mentor people. He absolutely did. But he approached artists with a genuine curiosity and respect, regardless of experience and reputation. He wanted to know what they were working on. He wanted to know what they were thinking about. He wanted to know what excited your creativity. If you believed in your work, he would make you feel like your ideas mattered. Looking back, I think that's one of the reasons why so many artists remain connected to Arturo through their lives. He didn't just support artists, he empowered them. He made people feel like they belonged in the conversation. He would take musicians, visual artists, filmmakers, writers, performers, and outsiders and stir them together. He constantly asked, what if these two worked together? What if these projects became something else? What if you tried a medium you never worked in? He understood that artists grow through interaction. One example of this is his encouragement of Dee Dee Ramone's artwork and poetry. Most people knew Dee Dee as a musician. Arturo saw an artist. He encouraged him to explore these other forms of expression. He did this repeatedly, not just with Dee Dee, but with countless other artists. He was always creating conditions for experimentation. Looking back, I realized he wasn't simply helping individual artists, he was building a creative ecosystem. Personal lessons from Arturo. One of the biggest things Arturo taught me was that you don't have to limit yourself to one identity as an artist. Too often, we are told to pick one thing: filmmaker, writer, painter, musician. Arturo didn't think that way. He embraced experimentation. The philosophy influenced me enormously. It's part of the reason I moved between filmmaking, visual arts, publishing books, curating exhibits, and organizing events. Arturo helped reinforce the idea that creativity works different, doesn't need boundaries. He also taught me that visuals, the value of collaboration, but collaboration, not as a collaboration as a business strategy, collaboration as a creative practice, a way of learning, a way of growing, a way of expanding your perspective. Every artist brings a different set of experiences, skills, and ideas. When the ideas genuinely collaborate, both people have leave changed by the experiment. Arturo understood that better than almost anybody I ever worked with. You're going to see a clip here from This is Berlin, Not New York. Before showing this clip, I wanted to share a quick little note about it. When we were filming in Berlin, Arturo wanted to print shirts. The problem was that I didn't have an extra shirt with me, so I literally took the shirt off my back. Arturo printed it right there, and you'll see that I put the shirt back on, and it dried on me over the night. That moment always makes me laugh because it captures Arturo's spirit. If there was an idea, he wanted to make it happen immediately. What I love about this film, this is Berlin, not New York. It's really a film about conversations between Arturo. Arturo loved conversations. He loved presenting ideas and seeing how artists reacted to them. He wasn't interested in everyone agreeing with him. In fact, he often enjoyed it when people challenged his ideas because it pushed the conversation somewhere unexpected. In this clip, you'll see that dynamic, particularly in the conversation with Ted Reederer and Arturo about a ring. Wasn't trying to win an argument, he was trying to create a dialogue. In the next clip, then you'll see there's a film, The Dolls of Lisbon. The concept behind The Dolls of Lisbon was fairly simple. I handcrafted over 100 dolls, distributed them to artists, and then each artist would take the doll, transform it as if it were a canvas, and then return the doll to me, which will be part of a project and an exhibition in Lisbon, Portugal. When I brought the first doll to Arturo, something unexpected happened. He loved it so much he decided to keep it. As to him, it was a complete piece of art. The problem was the doll wasn't supposed to stay with him. It was supposed to be returned for the project. So I had to go back and make another doll for Arturo. Each one took a considerable amount of time and effort, but honestly, I wasn't upset. I was excited because Arturo only kept the artwork he genuinely connected with. He didn't collect things out of obligation. He didn't take art he didn't like. Knowing he felt strongly enough about the piece to keep it in his personal collection meant a lot. This clip shows Arturo working on his doll, and I think it captures something important about him. Despite all of his accomplishments, he never stopped being an artist himself. He remained playful, curious, and excited by the act of making art. Arturo's legacy is still happening. When people talk about legacy, they often focus on what someone made. In Arturo's case, that included the Ramones logo, the merchandise, and the visual identity he helped create. But I think Arturo's greatest legacy is something less visible. It's a way of working. It's a way of bringing people together. One of the best examples is the relationship between two artists, Crispy T and James Rubio. Arturo recognized that both artists had unique voices, but he also saw the possibility neither of them seen in their own work. He encouraged them to collaborate and think beyond the smaller works they had been making individually. The result was large-scale murals and collaborative projects that neither artist would have arrived at quite the same way alone. Arturo's gift. And so you'll see a clip of those two artists working together from another film, Self-Medicated. He wasn't interested in simply introducing, he was interested in creating situations where artists would learn from one another and push each other into new territory. Collaboration itself became part of the artwork. The idea continues and influences me today. When I think about my own practice, I don't think of as only a filmmaker or a writer or a visual artist. Arturo helped to reinforce the idea of creativity that doesn't have to stay in one lane. Don't worry, I'm almost done. More importantly, Arturo changed the way I think about other artists. I often find myself asking the same questions he would ask. Who should meet each other? Who would make something incredible together? What happens if these two creative worlds collide? When I connect artists, I encourage collaboration. I continue the tradition that Arturo passed on to me. It also made me more open to collaboration myself. Not simply working alongside other artists, but understanding the collaboration as one of the most valuable ways artists learn and grow. Every collaboration becomes an exchange. Each artist leaves with new ideas, new approaches, and new, broader understanding of what is possible. He taught me that art isn't just about things we make. It's about the connections we create, the opportunities we open up for each other, and the communities we help build. And it's especially fitting that we're having this conversation here today. This place itself carries Arturo's name and spirit through Howl, happening an Arturo Vega project. His influence is still deeply felt in this building. And it's moving in a place like this where all artists gather, create, experiment, and connect in ways Arturo always encouraged. In that sense, his work never ended.
How do you do?
Hello, Arturo.
How are you doing?
Welcome to Berlin.
Thank you.
How was your trip?
It was good. It was nice being back in Europe.
You probably had no hassles.
No. Did you?
We always have hassles all the time.
Yeah, well. You guys misbehave. I'm an older gentleman. I know how to act. Oh boy, I feel like a real artist now. Doing things by hand. Oh Jesus, spontaneity works. That we should put strings or cables or something and hang them, because they look good. Then we have the t-shirts hanging up, from the ceiling, and they'll be better than having them on the floor.
That's how you do it.
Right?
Right, you're right.
Have to delight and to instruct, which is kind of like the role of art. You have to please people, have to entertain, and you have to, and at the same time,
The good thing about those two words, delight and instruct, is it's very suspicious. It immediately provokes suspicion.
what I was looking for, the reason why it struck in my mind, besides the fact that it was about something happening in Berlin, I was coming to Berlin, is that I'm looking for a word or two words to engrave in the inside of this ring.
Oh yeah? No, I don't think those are.
Why?
It seems too idealistic or something.
But the reason why I want it in the ring is not for me. Is I'm thinking already of the person that is gonna get this ring when I die. This is a special ring. I bought this diamond 20 years ago in Amsterdam. It's a perfect, flawless diamond.
Yeah.
And I wanted this ring to look exactly the way it did, and nobody could do it. First they told me, this is called a tension ring. Said the stone is too big for a tension ring. It would have to be too thick, etc., etc.
Yeah.
I waited for 20 years to have this ring made.
I don't know, there's no dignity in delight. Delight is a Baroque word. It's little metaphors. You have a delightful little sandwich with the crust pulled off. You are so much more substantial than that.
Well, listen, if Alexander Humboldt said it, it's good enough for me. You know what I mean? This is his sentence. He said, you have to delight and instruct.
Yeah, I like it. Well, if you sell it to me like that, it's okay. But if I found that ring in a museum,
pawn shop?
Yeah, it fits there. Like the yellow and the brown.
It just fits the concept of
fame being a disease, which I believe. Well, fame is a two-sided disease. It's not only the famous, it's more that the people that make famous people famous, the sequels. And especially in the United States, they worship the cult of celebrity, and it's totally out of control. And it just tells you something about the desperate state of the people. But it applies to this because something that was meant to be, a creative element, just a contribution to what the Ramones were, has become, a victim of that kind of fame. But a lot of them don't even know it's a band. So you can say that is a perfect example of fame becoming a disease. The purpose of that logo was to be part of the power of a band, to contribute something to the power of a band, and now it's just a disease. I mean, it's not the band's fault, you know what I mean? Yeah. The Ramones never sold a lot of records. They were never commercially successful. We have sold a lot more t-shirts now than the records. You know what I mean? There's something sick about that when you think about it. You know what I mean? There's something sick about it. It's disappointing. It's flattering in a way. For me as a designer, it's flattering, but it still doesn't make me feel that good. It is a fucking sickness. Get their rope of that. Hook it to something else.
I took out 2 plastic bags from when I was crate digging, and if you want to put them on there so they don't get dirty or whatever,
yeah, maybe we should
grab those plastic bags.
So, when you use these images, do you use them in Photoshop or Illustrator?
I use them in Photoshop, and I make banners, like a big banner. This would be a frame for Johnny or Joey or Didi.
I see.
The idea is to create altars. And so I make an altar for each one of the guys.
Okay, how much do you tweak it when you do these artwork? A lot? You
of course.
Tweak a lot of it?
It changes completely.
I like to see the finished version.
It changes completely.
Your version.
Yeah. I just practically just take the element and create.
So how was your trip?
Great.
Wake up.
Waking up. It's a process.
And so you're like the last man at the party here, right?
Yes. I'm like 4 days late.
This is the squatter place I was telling you about.
Oh, this is?
Only in Berlin. New York used to be dirty like this, but New York is better now. We kicked all those goddamn squatters from Tompkins Square. Put them in jail. But here, the Germans don't have it together anymore. They used to do things with order and discipline, but not anymore. They lost it. Look what's happening now. Chaos, dirt, Damn.
Hello, this is Ethan Minsker from the Antagonist Art Movement. We're here down on the Lower East Side. We're going to do a tour. Arturo's crib. We're not on MTV, though. Here he is, the man himself.
Hello there. I'm taking myself very seriously as a collector because a lot of these kids are real messed up and fucked up. They need help. And I'm old enough to be their father or their grandfather, so you better listen. It's a masterpiece by Richard Hambleton, also known as the Shadow Man, or the Marlboro Man, because of this piece. This is a Marlboro country piece. Richard is a contemporary of Keith Haring and Jean-Michel Basquiat. He's one of the 3 so-called graffiti artists. Not to be used as a practical, as a surfboard, but for a traveling exhibition. And here we have a very, very original Richard Hambleton, the Shadow Man. His version of the Ramones first album. These are commemorative objects from 2002 when the Ramones were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. They were designed by me. These are images of the way the loft looked in 1976. The exact date is July 2nd. The Ramones are getting here. We're getting together here. They're leaving for London, the first trip to the UK. face it that way. Because the loft looked totally different. Joey is standing right in front of this door. And the purpose of that was to get photographs with a white background for the visas. Danny Fields took the photographs. By Didi Ramon. I convinced Didi to start painting around 1992. Didi left the Ramones in 1989. But he continued to come to the loft a lot. And one day, right here in the loft, I said, Didi, we're getting too old for this punk business, for this punk stuff. We should be doing things that you can do when you're in your 60s and your 70s and your 80s that you can do for the rest of your life. That is to write and paint. And I had a lot of canvases around. I was working in this very, very minimalistic kind of paintings. And I just gave him some paintings. Some of my hat collection.
Here's a good one right there.
The antagonist, look at that. The ninja guy. These are 3 pieces here by Ted Creator. The man who organized the Never Records exhibit. The skulls are done with actual acetate vinyl albums, musical albums of the Ramones, of course. This is Road to Ruin. And this in particular one, I sent him this piece, and here background says To Hell With Use, which is the title of one of my exhibits, one of my art exhibits from the 80s, I think it is. Another Richard Hamilton masterpiece, and that is also, that's my portrait. When I turned 60, some of my artist friends made portraits of me. These were created for the first anniversary of the 9/11 disaster by an exhibition by the Antagonist Group. It represents not just the United States, but the entire Western world. Gold record for Ramones Mania. I don't know how many years it took for the Ramones to get a gold record. The Ramones didn't sell that many records, unfortunately. But he wasn't about selling records with the Ramones. I was working on this black and white pieces, and I gave one to Didi. And I said, that was the very first one that I gave him. And I said, come on, Didi, do something with this. And he created the Good Didi, Bad Didi painting. He drew himself on the white side, saying, hi, this is me, the Good Didi, the one that everybody likes so much. I'm almost perfect. And then on the other side, he drew himself with fangs and horns and looking very evil and said, this is the other Didi. I'm a creep sometimes, and all I have is my hate power. In this particular one, he's talking to Sid Vicious. That's Didi talking to Sid. And only Didi Ramon could make fun, almost fun, or could create a cartoon of something as serious as a murder. You know, in the cartoonish style, he just asking Sid, did you kill her? And Sid goes, yes, no. Again, that was Didi's genius, you know, true poem. He could be funny, he could be entertaining, but he could talk about terrible things, you know, say terrible things, but then nevertheless truth. Another Richard Hamilton. This is Richard's latest stage. It started a long time ago, but this is the only style that Richard has continued to evolve. He says, this is the origin of the shadows. Richard was working on this on a series of prints that he called I Only Have Eyes for You. They're from 1980. Another portrait of me by Richard. I think this is the first one. Johnny Ramon and myself. Richard mastered the technique of turning blood into pigment. In other words, it doesn't change color anymore. That's that column there. Mr. James Rubio. This was the invite. This was the invite for the swastika show that we did with the Antagonist Group also. 2002. Sure. That's the newest piece in my collection. Great. And so it's important to me to feel comfortable. And I feel very comfortable surrounded by art.
My name is Chris Yarrington, or Crispy T, depending on who's saying it.
I'm James Rubio. We are contemporary adult music.
Trying to make it fun, you know? This brush has seen better days.
But yeah, everybody we met down here in Victoria, it's really cool, man. It's like the same thing that's going on in New York, but it's happening in Texas. You know, a bunch of people doing music, doing art, doing film, and they're all, you know, they've got their community down here, and it's cool. Every time we do one of these, our community gets bigger, you know, so.
Yeah, our family gets bigger.
Yeah.
You know, it's insane.
It's really cool.
Well, I'm sorry, but I'm not giving up the doll. I decided to keep it. It's too cool to give up. Liked it too much. Like everything in life, I guess it's something in between therapy and entertainment. By the way, this is the second doll that I received. You know, the dolls themselves are so cool, just blank canvas. It allows you to do more with it.
Its light fills this room.
I guess it's the minimalist aspect of things. To Mexico almost every month this year. You know, I started gathering stuff. Like the little baby doll there. That comes from one of the Zapatista dolls. So there's male and female Zapatistas, and they're all carrying a rifle. But some of the female Zapatista dolls have a baby in the back, because that's how you see most women in those parts of the country, Mexico, always carrying a baby. You know, even children will go, "Oh, mommy, mommy, look. It's Kitty, can I have that little doll?" And the mom will go look at the big penis and they go, "Oh." I wouldn't know what to say.
Fly away.
The antagonist movement touches so many young people. But the results are not going to be seen in the short term. But in the long term, there's going to be, you know, not dozens, maybe hundreds of artists that have been influenced, have been touched because they had something to do, because they were part of the antagonist movement.
Because I got to introduce the Screaming Rebel Angels. We met them like 2 weeks ago, and we love what we heard, so it's a big deal for us to cap off this wonderful
we have a little classic for them. We're retired, but I feel like you guys are pretty understanding. this